This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The flood fight is underway on one Manitoba First Nation that's already bracing for what could be a devastating overflow in just a matter of days. In Peguis First Nation, it's a race against time to build dams and set up an evacuation center. It's a stopgap, and leadership says a permanent solution is desperately needed. The CBC's Santiago Arias Orozco has our top story.
One sandbag at a time, residents in Peguis First Nation are protecting their homes. People have to move quickly because the community braces for what could be a devastating flood.
And we want to save as many homes as we can.
At 66, William Bird has spent the last days carrying sandbags. The goal is to build dams around at least 400 buildings before water spills over.
Difficult for us to do this year after year after year, because sometimes, no matter what our efforts are, it's futile if the water comes above what we expect.
Around 200 workers have been pulling 12-hour shifts since Friday to load trucks with sandbags, tens of thousands of them. But that's not the only move to save homes. Peguis is also building dikes.
Clay will be stocked up to create a barrier and stop water. One of them will surround this apartment building at risk of flooding. Dikes can be put together fast, but Chief Stan Bird says the First Nation needs a permanent solution to flooding, one that would divert water away from the community. He says families are displaced almost every spring.
People just have to step back and realize that it's tearing our people, tearing our families apart. It's beating our people down.
Snowpack levels in the Fisher River Basin right now are among the highest in recent years. Cooler temperatures have delayed the melt. With warmer weather and possibly more precipitation, there could be a flood similar to 2022. That's when around 2,100 people were evacuated and over 700 homes damaged. Hydrologist Ian Halkett says flooding could happen again as soon as in the next 5 days.
We're looking for efficiencies because we've only got a very short time.
The First Nation of about 4,000 people on reserve is also getting ready for evacuations. This hockey arena has been set up with cots, teepees and tents for 300 people.
It's close to home, you're among friends and family, so it's probably one of the best places that we could probably stay for now.
Leaders in the community say preparations started earlier this year with the hopes of keeping people at home as long as they can. Santiago Arias Orozco, CBC News, Peguis First Nation.
An Indigenous nonprofit is accusing a Winnipeg woman of misappropriating millions of dollars in federal funding. The National Guardian Network is suing its former finance director. It alleges she drained their accounts to buy vacations and hockey tickets and laundered money to a Jamaican singer. Manitoba IT reporter Michelle Allen explains.
Tropical vacations, TikTok coins, and payments to a Jamaican dance hall artist. That's how NGN alleges in a lawsuit its former finance director drained the group's bank account. Court documents say checks to First Nations National Guardians program started bouncing last November. It filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Desjarlais in March. NGN is accusing her of misappropriating $6.3 million of the network's funds over 7 months. The lawsuit says the suspicious transactions began in August 2025, right after the executive director went on medical leave. The lawsuit says this left Desjarlais in sole control of the group's finances. As the suspicious transactions mounted, NGN's funds dwindled. Desjarlais hasn't filed a statement of defense. Through her lawyer, she declined to comment. The board reported the potential fraud to police on March 4th. Court documents accused Desjarlais of misappropriating $6.3 million. Of that, nearly $5 million was spent on TikTok, mostly TikTok coin recharge, a virtual currency used to send gifts to creators. The lawsuit alleges she bought these TikTok coins to launder the money, sending funds to a Jamaican dance hall artist, Conrad Williams, or Short God. In 2024, the federal government said it would give NGN up to nearly $30 million meant to fund 80 Guardians initiatives to protect the environment. Guardians are Indigenous conservation experts. They're trained to protect sensitive ecosystems, like monitoring wildlife populations or managing the impacts of floods and wildfires. A Swan Lake First Nation Stewardship Initiative is one of the NGN-funded programs.
We recognize the need here at Swan Lake simply because of the water quality that we were seeing, fish species that are dying, invasive plants that are coming in, chemicals that are getting into our food sources.
Scott says funding these programs help address food and water insecurity, crucial to survival. The bank froze NGN's accounts. The lawsuit is making its way through the courts right now. In response, Environment and Climate Change Canada is taking over from NGN. For now, the feds will distribute funding to Guardians programs. Michelle Allen, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The homelessness crisis across the city is getting worse. More than 8,200 people don't have stable housing. They're living in shelters, temporary spaces, or outside. And more than half of them are chronically homeless. But despite the latest data from End Homelessness Winnipeg, the province says it's making gains and getting people off the streets. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
New data is putting a sharper picture on homelessness in Winnipeg, showing a steep rise over the past year. The latest data from End Homelessness Winnipeg shows there was more than 8,200 people without stable housing as of March 31st. That was up more than 2,500, or nearly 45% since last year. They also counted more than 4,400 people experiencing chronic homelessness, an increase of more than 1,300, or 42%. Those numbers are also higher than what past estimates, like the Winnipeg Street Census, have shown. But this data is collected differently, using a real-time list of people connected to services.
I was shocked.
End Homelessness Winnipeg CEO Jennifer Moore-Rattray called the situation a humanitarian crisis.
It's a good wake-up call for many of us in terms of the scale of work that needs to be done and done very quickly, so that we can truly be the city that I know that we can be.
Moore-Rattray says the numbers are rising in part because more people are entering homelessness than are finding housing. It points to rising costs and a shortage of deeply affordable and supportive housing.
What it says is cost of living is an issue. What it says is lack of affordable housing, deeply affordable housing, lack of housing with wraparound supports is an issue.
Housing Minister Bernadette Smith says the province is making progress, pointing to its homelessness strategy and new investments in supportive housing.
So making sure that those folks can move along a continuum and have other folks come behind that need those supports. And a house is just a house, but we know that folks also need to make sure that they have the right kind of supports.
The province says hundreds of housing units are complete or under construction, but it is trying to catch up after years of underinvestment. And Homelessness Winnipeg says the scale of the problem is growing faster than the response, noting the data only includes people connected to services, and the true total is likely higher. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Water consumption in Winnipeg was up more than 8% last year, and that's added an unexpected $67 million to city coffers. Finance Committee Chair Jeff Brawadi says there could be several reasons why. The city's population has grown by 80,000, which means more toilets flushing and more laundry, dishes and showers. Brawadi says the city also replaced a lot of old meters last year, which he says were under-reading water usage.
It is quite a bit of additional revenue, and it does put us in a strange position in that, we'll be able to perhaps pay for a little bit more of Newpick with cash as opposed to having to borrow. And maybe there's an opportunity to review rates going forward as well.
Newpick is the city's new $3 billion sewage treatment plant now under construction. Brawadi says the city may be able to freeze water rates for Winnipeggers next year if the trends with usage continue. All right, Riley in now. And Riley, it is a roller coaster when it comes to weather this week. My goodness.
You know what? by the middle of the week, shorts weather. And then it comes to a crashing end after that. Looking at temperatures through the afternoon, 4 degrees in Winnipeg. Normal high for this time of the year is 10, so a little off the mark. Still pleasant nonetheless, actually getting to 3.7 if you want to be exact through the afternoon today. Brandon, 5 degrees. 5s into the Parkland and the Swan Valley this afternoon, 1 degree in Thompson. Things will start to warm up as we get into the day tomorrow. Looking at satellite and radar, I mean, there has been some clearing into parts of northern Manitoba, certainly a bit of sunshine late day into the Red River Valley, and a little bit of scattered precipitation into southwestern Manitoba. This is all connected to some instability that's running south of the border that could give us a bit of precipitation into the early morning. So Winnipeg overnight -2, a partly cloudy sky. Winds stay relatively light as we get into the morning hours. Slim chance of a scattered flurry first thing. Let's try for 10 degrees tomorrow afternoon. As I mentioned, Brittany, shorts weather coming up by the middle of the week. I'll have more on that just ahead.
All right, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, the World Cup has landed in Winnipeg. FIFA fans got the chance to get up and close with the coveted piece of hardware. Why it was here? We'll explain next. Nearly every day, someone in Manitoba loses their life from substance use. But according to newly released data, those numbers are going down. It's a positive sign, but experts say there's still more to do to address preventable drug deaths. CBC's Alana Cole reports.
Manitoba saw a drop in the number of substance-related deaths in the first 11 months of last year compared to the year before. That's according to preliminary numbers from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. They show 354 substance-related deaths from January through November of 2025, down from 530 reported during that time period in 2024. Dr. Erin Knights, the Medical Director of Addiction Services at Health Sciences Centre and the President of the Canadian Society of Addiction Medicine. She says it's hard to say exactly what led to the decrease here, but it's part of a pattern seen in other parts of Canada. Knight says on a national level, some likely factors include changes to drug supply, better access to the opioid reversing drug naloxone, and fewer people at risk of drug-related deaths because they've already died.
I still see lots of people who are negatively impacted by drug poisonings all the time. And so that piece where maybe we're seeing a reduction in overdose deaths or in drug poisoning deaths because people have already died is quite sad to me.
The Chief Medical Examiner's office says there will likely be some changes to the 2025 numbers, but they will be minor. Manitoba's addiction minister says even with a decrease, the numbers are still high. And she points to the need for a supervised consumption site to open, something the government is working on.
We see people using unsupervised here in Winnipeg. We know that we've heard from Manitobans that we need to get people connected into, the support services and someone who is going to, create a relationship with them. We need to keep people alive long enough to get them to those services.
Smith couldn't provide an update to when a permanent supervised consumption site would open, but says when it does, the plan is for it to include a rapid access to addictions medicine clinic and primary care. Alana Cole, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Manitoba government has appointed an acting commissioner of teacher misconduct. David Yeo will serve in the role on an interim basis. This comes after the province cut ties with Bobby Taillefer after finding out she was working remotely from Florida. Taillefer had been appointed to the role in September 2024. The education minister says Yeo brings more than 30 years of service in the education department, adding that Yeo's experience will ensure continuity while the province searches for a new permanent commissioner. Kickoff for the 2026 FIFA World Cup is less than 2 months away, and today footy fans got a glimpse of its most coveted prize. The trophy tour stopped in Winnipeg ahead of the international soccer tournament, and excited fans got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see the original FIFA World Cup. CBC's Mike Arsenault was there and has this story.
It's been called the world's game, and now a part of that world is sitting right here in Winnipeg. This is one of the most iconic trophies in the world, and people are lining up around the block to get a glimpse.
Hundreds of people waited to get a look at the FIFA World Cup trophy up close, a sight Amatog man thought he'd never see.
Once in a lifetime opportunity to see the World Cup trophy. Who'd want to miss out on this, So, yeah, excited for this.
The World Cup trophy tour started in January. Winnipeg is one of 75 stops all over the world. The Canadian leg of the tour is shining a light on the growing soccer culture in the country and building momentum ahead of the tournament. Paula Pontes brought her whole family down to get a glimpse of the gold.
We're here to see the World Cup
trophy.
The trophy, and start celebrating soccer. As soon as we can get started, we're excited to be here.
Canada is one of 3 countries hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup, along with Mexico and the U.S. 48 nations are competing, and 104 games will be played. Vice President of FIFA Canada, Victor Montegliani, says this tournament is Canada's time to shine on the world stage.
Bringing it to all corners of our country, wrapping the World Cup and the Canadian flag, our diversity, our vast geography, but also understanding that what it means to every individual in this country.
Mayor Scott Gillingham thanked FIFA for bringing the world's most iconic trophy to Winnipeg. He expects the city to be buzzing when the tournament starts.
Soccer is one of those sports that unites us. It's a sport that's accessible to everybody, and it's growing here in Winnipeg as well.
Fans agree this is a special event, but they don't always agree on what team to cheer for.
Go Canada! Go Portugal!
13 of the FIFA World Cup games are being played in Canada, 6 in Toronto, and 7 in Vancouver. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Lots of excited soccer fans, my goodness. This weather game that we're on is more like a game of yo-yo. We're going up, we're going down, and a real big shift midweek.
Yeah, and then in true Manitoba fashion, Brittany, it comes crashing down very suddenly.
Why wouldn't what goes up must come down?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Although we will see things wind back up. Again, in the long range, I'm going to start with the 10-day temperature trend. As I always say when I show this, think of this as more of a trend, particularly as you get into that 8, 9, day 10 toward the end of this graphic here. So you can really see that sharp increase into some double-digit temperatures as we get toward the middle of the week. And like I mentioned, there it all comes down toward the weekend, but we will, at least the longer range forecast models, see things returning to something closer to seasonal as we get toward the end of next week. And as much as I joke about weather like this being perhaps more like shorts weather as we get to Wednesday, maybe not the best for that flood flight that's taking place in parts of the Interlake into Peguis in particular, where we're not wanting that really big fast melt to happen. Well, that's what's happening as we get through the next couple of days, up to 15 degrees by Wednesday. And yeah, unfortunately, more precipitation coming as we get toward the end of the week. I'll break all that down for you now. So high pressure has really cleared us out through the afternoon, led to a mostly sunny end to the afternoon in Winnipeg. A little bit of instability tracking along the international border. There is the slight chance early morning. I'm talking like 6, 7 a.m. We could get into some scattered flurries in Winnipeg. Best chance for that into southeastern Manitoba and certainly into northwestern Ontario by the time we get into the morning hours tomorrow. In northern Manitoba, low 1 of 2 pushes through as we get through the day. This is a quick 2 to 4 centimeters for places like Thompson into Gillam, but attention quickly turns to the second system. This one tracking a bit further south, and there's not a lot of agreement with the forecast modeling right now on what exactly will be coming, particularly into the Swan Valley and parts of the Interlake. This particular forecast model is leaving this as rain because temperatures will be at 2, 3 degrees even as we get overnight into Wednesday morning. But further north, this is more like a snow event, and there is some disagreement with the track of this one, so we could get into a situation where we get another round of accumulation in places like Swan River, for example. And then the door slams in all of that warmth as this cold front pushes south. This could lead to some messy mixed precipitation as we get toward the Thursday time frame to parts of southern Manitoba. All this to say there is some snow coming into northern Manitoba. By the end of Wednesday, it looks like at this point a general 5 to 10 centimeters coming in sort of 2 to 4 centimeter increments as we get through the next couple of days here. So for Winnipeg, looking at 10 degrees into the afternoon, we'll get into some clearing as we get through the day tomorrow, 18 degrees into Wednesday. Then I'm watching that fairly good chance of showers as we get into the day on Thursday at 4 degrees. And yeah, 18 degrees on Wednesday. And then we're already back down into the freezing mark by the time we get into the weekend. And maybe that's a bit of a cruel April.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Look at St. Pierre Joly as we head to break. We have much more straight ahead. Stay with us. 3 federal by-elections are taking place today, 2 in Toronto and 1 outside Montreal. Winning just one of those races would deliver the Liberals a razor-thin majority government. But opposition parties are pushing back on how the Liberals got this close. Ashley Burke reports from Ottawa.
Canadians casting their ballots in 3 by-elections, now the ones to decide if Mark Carney should secure a majority government.
So I was just thinking, let's give Mark Carney a majority and see what he does.
Stability. Yeah.
The Liberals 1 seat away from a majority, with races in Scarborough Southwest and University Rosedale, 2 seats considered safe for the Liberals.
Feels like it's a pretty, I guess, decisive kind of night.
It might not be a decisive night in Terrebonne. A tight race is unfolding between the Liberals and Bloc Québécois.
And I think right now it's important that Mrs. Sinclair with the Bloc Québécois get their chance, because it's okay to have the majority, but it's also important to have a counterbalance at the chamber.
The Liberals won by a single vote in Terrebonne in the last election. The Supreme Court overturned that result due to an error made by Elections Canada that could have impacted the results.
We haven't seen a lot of indications from the polls that things have shifted all that much in Quebec, so that says to me that it could again be almost as close as it was last time.
The Liberals this close to a majority after 5 MPs from other parties defected to join Carney's team.
Bonsoir, chers libéraux.
4 from the Conservatives and 1 from the NDP. Dolly Begum also resigned as a New Democrat MPP to run as a Liberal in Scarborough Southwest.
Canadians did not elect a majority government, and if they end up with one, largely through floor crossings, it just feels wrong. And I think Canadians are disturbed by this.
The Conservatives continuing to take aim too.
The government seems committed to their strategy of backroom deals to achieve a majority.
The Liberals pushing back and weighing in on what a majority would mean.
I think what a majority does is it actually gives you time to effectively plan. That's what this country needs right now, given what's going on globally.
The Prime Minister told a content creator over the weekend that a majority won't change the government's strategy, but it will speed up policies that Canadians chose when they voted Liberal. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Join Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton for the special coverage of Canada Votes by-election night starting at 7 p.m. on CBC News Network and wherever you stream CBC News. In other political news, Christine Fréchette will become the next Premier of Quebec after winning the Coalition Avenir Québec leadership race.
Un moment important pour notre parti, mais surtout un moment important pour le Québec.
She beat out the only other candidate vying to become party leader. Fréchette replaces François Legault after he announced his plans to resign back in January. She's taking over the province's governing party with it slipping in opinion polls. The next provincial election is set for October 5th, but the CAQ could choose to call it sooner. The Ontario government is proposing extensive changes to the province's English education system. They include slashing the number of elected trustees and creating roles centered on both financial oversight and student achievement. Deanna Sumanik-Johnson has those details.
The Ontario government is making sweeping changes to education. A new law that includes linking high school grades to attendance.
Sometimes I get family responsibilities, so I have to skip the second period or the first period and come at lunch.
In grade 9 and 10, 15% of students' final mark will be based on attendance. For grades 11 and 12, it'll be 10%. A measure meant to tackle student absenteeism that's been on the rise since the pandemic.
I have a couple of people who's like literally I see them like once in a month. And I don't understand that because you're like grade 12 students, like what's your problem?
Mandatory written exams are also coming back for high schoolers, a move this education expert welcomes.
Bringing back exams used to be old school, but now it may be part of the future because it's one of the few ways you can judge how students are doing is a time-limited assessment under close supervision.
The law could also change how school boards are run. The government has been frustrated with elected school board trustees for some time now,
Good afternoon, everybody.
arguing they spend too much of taxpayers' dollars while not managing school boards properly. 8 boards have already been put under provincial supervision for a year now.
Trustees will continue to play a role, but that role will change significantly. We will introduce a salary cap, reduce the number of elected trustees to no more than 12 per board, and eliminate most expense accounts.
The country's biggest board, the Toronto District School Board, would see its number of trustees cut in half. The Ontario Public School Boards Association said in a statement, removing these responsibilities from trustees means removing decisions from people who are directly accountable to the community.
The province has also introduced a new role, Chief Executive Officer, responsible for financial and operational oversight. Opponents of the bill are worried how that role would be appointed. Deanna Sumanek-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
An American blockade of the Strait of Hormuz has started, and Donald Trump has warned Iran against sending fast attack ships in an attempt to break it. Iran has said in the recent past it would not surrender under threats. Katie Nicholson has more.
The U.S. blockade began precisely at 10 a.m. Eastern with the help of more than a dozen warships, and on the heels of a marathon weekend negotiation session between the U.S. and Iran that failed to produce a deal.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Iran has threatened to hit back against the blockade, the IRGC spokesperson saying if the security of the ports of the Islamic Republic in Iran and the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman is threatened, no other port in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman will be safe. The U.S. president warned Iran against launching any fast attack ships. If any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated, using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. Donald Trump was asked whether the end game of the blockade was to get Iran back to the negotiating table or reopen the strait.
Maybe everything. I mean, both of those things, certainly, and more. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen.
He also said Iran has already been in touch about a deal.
We've been called this morning by the right people, the appropriate people, and they want to work a deal. They would like to work a deal.
The shaky 2-week ceasefire continues to hold, despite the blockade, which NATO allies have declined to join.
We, the UK, will not be joining the blockade that the President announced.
Instead, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron will hold a summit this week with dozens of leaders with 2 main goals.
First, diplomatic efforts to bring pressure to bear for a negotiated end to the conflict and for the strait to be opened. Second, military planning to provide assurance to shipping as soon as a stable environment can be established.
This new blockade also made for a bit of a roller coaster day for oil, soaring at one point to $104 US a barrel before settling just under 100. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
Donald Trump lashed out at Pope Leo on social media over his criticism of the war on Iran. The U.S. president said he doesn't think the Pope is doing a very good job and suggested the pontiff stop catering to the, quote, radical left. The CBC's Crystal Gamansing reports.
An escalation from U.S. President Donald Trump. He went from calling Pope Leo weak and terrible to his Truth Social page, including a photo in which the president resembles Jesus healing the sick. In response to a question about the level of attention and criticism from the U.S. president, Pope Leo, the first American pontiff, said he has no fear of either the Trump administration or speaking out loudly about the need and importance of peace.
The message of the church, my message, the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers. I do not look at my role as being political or a politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly.
And he kept talking about international law and the need for peace when he landed in Algeria, one of the 4 African countries the Pope is touring.
By respecting the dignity of everyone and allowing yourselves to be moved by the pain of others, instead of multiplying misunderstandings and conflicts, you can surely become protagonists of a new chapter in history. Today, this is more urgent than ever in the face of continuous violations of international law and neo-colonial tendencies.
When the president's remarks first appeared online late Sunday, Archbishop Paul Coakley, the president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, issued a brief statement saying, "I am disheartened that the president chose to write such disparaging words about the Holy Father. Pope Leo is not his rival, nor is the Pope a politician. He is the vicar of Christ who speaks the truth of the gospel and for the care of souls." The U.S. president and his vice president, J.D. Vance, openly talk about their Christian values and the need to protect them. A 2025 Pew Research report on voting showed 55% of Catholics indicated they voted for the president in 2024. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, London.
Trump has since deleted the image depicting himself as a Jesus-like figure from social media. It was an epic 52-day journey that began near the Alaska-Yukon border and ended in Churchill, Manitoba. Coming up, we'll show you why a team of Canadian Rangers made their way across Canada's north. The town of Churchill gave a warm northern welcome to a group of Canadian Rangers over the weekend. It was all part of an epic military exercise in the far north. And as CBC's Eric Westhaver reports, it wasn't a short trip.
It took nearly 2 months and over 4,500 kilometers, but the One Canadian Ranger Patrol Group has arrived in Churchill. It was a long ride, going from the Northwest Territories to the northern Manitoba port. The journey was part of a Canadian Armed Forces deployment in the Arctic. It's called Operation Nanook, and up to 1,300 Canadian soldiers are taking part. Patricia Kanduran was one of dozens of Churchill locals who welcomed the Rangers to town.
It was like a joyous occasion knowing that all these people came from so far away and they all made it safely. Like our Rangers, our family, you know, their families were there to greet them.
The Rangers cover Canada's far north, reporting to the armed forces. Their job was to do what's called a long-range patrol, leaving Inuvik in the Northwest Territories, then riding snowmobiles all the way along the Arctic coast, into Hudson Bay, and down to Churchill. The leader of the trek was Lieutenant Colonel Travis Haynes.
There was pieces where we're just completely isolated, and then all you see is on a horizon is a few lights, and it's a northern community. And it became that beacon that we all became attracted to.
The Rangers even got a game of shinny in on the frozen Hudson Bay. Local leaders say they play a big role in the region.
We have a role to play in helping to shape a stronger Canada, whether it's through trade, whether it's through Arctic sovereignty, the whole aspect of military presence.
Some of the riders are heading back home. Their part of the operation has wrapped up. Operation Nanook will end later this week. Eric Westhaver, CBC News, Flin Flon.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Riley's back in now. And Riley, it is April, which means that really we could have any season in Manitoba when it comes to it. And I know I will say that my pup has really been enjoying not having to wear her booties lately. We are not enjoying having to do the cleanup, though, with those messy paws.
And that's the cycle that we're going to be in for the next little while here. I want to start with a bit of a flashback because, I mean, we are looking at double-digit temperatures, right, as we get through the next couple of days. This is a look at Brandon from 2022. On this day 4 years ago, I actually vividly remember gathering this story out when I was in Brandon at the time and looking at, very, very winter-like scenes. Actually, this system didn't carry a whole lot of moisture with it, but it was the wind that really brought you down, gusts up to 90 kilometers an hour that day, certainly leading to a cleanup and some highway closures in the days that followed. So certainly things could look a lot different. It's just a reminder that, yes, we can get weather like this still as we get toward the middle of April here. We're not immune to it, and we are looking at that continuing as we get through the next couple of days, even the next little while here into parts of the province. So let's do your dog walking forecast now. And tonight we're taking you to Onanol for this one. This is Buddy from Gwen and family out in Onanol. Thank you for sending this picture. And you know what? A great day to get Buddy out for a walk tomorrow, looking at temperatures in the Riding Mountain region, close to the double digits. Looking at 9-10 degrees as we get through the afternoon, a light southerly wind in that part of the province and really across southern Manitoba, not looking at wind being too much of a factor as we get through the next 24 hours. Overnight temperatures around the freezing mark in southwestern Manitoba, even staying above the freezing mark in some cases along the international border into Emerson and Sprague. This is where really along the international border we have a chance of seeing some showers or some wet flurries as we get into the early morning hours, and certainly as expected some cooler air in northern Manitoba, still clear skies, minus 27 in Churchill overnight, but compare that to the PA OCN, looking at the freezing mark as we get through into the overnight hours, into the early morning as we head into your Tuesday. This is that first Alberta clipper that pushes through as we get through the afternoon, a quick 2 to 4 centimeters through places like Shamattawa, Gillam, exiting Lynn Lake and Flin Flon, for example, as we get through the afternoon. And with temperatures at 6 degrees in Norway House, this is likely falling as rain showers as we get through the afternoon. Here's that quick burst of instability that pushes into northwestern Ontario as we get into the early morning hours. By noon, that pushes out, and then we get back under high pressure. That's going to clear things out and actually create a fairly sunny afternoon for most of us. calling it a sun cloud mix as we head through the afternoon ahead of that next system that'll impact places like Swan River into Grand Rapids as we head through the day on Wednesday. Temperatures in the double digits, 13s through Brandon, Verdun, 14 possibly in Melita through the afternoon. And where that cloud cover is, Brittany, looking at things closer to the freezing mark.
All right, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Family and friends came together in mourning at a vigil to honor the life of Leah Keeper over the weekend. Her remains were found in Winnipeg more than 2 years after she went missing. Now her loved ones are seeking answers, desperate to know what happened to her. The CBC's Santiago Arias Orozco has that story.
Coming together in mourning to honor a loving mother. Roses laid to rest on a fire during a vigil on Saturday held for Leah Keeper. Her mother, Beverly Crushane, is holding her memory close.
She'd always be giggling and laughing, and that's the kind of person she was all the time.
Charismatic, intelligent, a young woman full of life and dreams of becoming a nurse. Keeper had 2 daughters, now 13 and 8 years old. Her family says Keeper put her soul into everything she did.
I just can't believe that she's gone, but I'm glad that we had this gathering here just to remember her. She was a good person.
Keeper was 32 when she went missing around Winnipeg's North End in 2023. Her disappearance met with search walks, patrols, and posters with her face plastered around the city, an effort lasting years to bring her home.
Partial human remains were found in this backlane in November. Winnipeg police say earlier this week DNA testing confirmed they belong to Keeper.
It really feels closure to me. I don't have to wonder, where she is or what's happening to her.
Over 100 people came to bid farewell at the vigil, a testament, her brother says, of the many lives Keeper left a mark on. But for him, Leah will always be his younger sister.
She'll always be that little girl who came to us singing, and that was her little gift. Whenever she felt a little down, she would sing, and she gifted me with that.
Now the community sings for her. Winnipeg police say the homicide unit is still investigating Keeper's death, but her family is still in the dark on what happened to her and why her remains were found so long after she went missing.
To wonder, right? To now have to live your life every single day moving forward without knowing these answers, they deserve that much.
For now, the family says they're closing a chapter with a plan to lay Keeper's body to rest in Seguin First Nation. Santiago Arias Orozco, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A Westman Dragon Boat team of breast cancer survivors and supporters are charting an even more ambitious course. Over the weekend, the group hosted their first conference, bringing doctors, patients, and educators together, all while launching their largest fundraising goal to date. CBC's Chelsea Kemp has more.
They've already navigated the uncertain waters of breast cancer diagnosis, treatment, and survival. Now a Westman Dragon Boat team of survivors and supporters are charting another ambitious course, bringing together doctors, patients, and educators to launch their largest funding campaign yet. Waves of Hope team member Betty Stewart was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1987. She says it was an isolating and scary experience.
Nobody talked about breast cancer. There was very little information available.
Stewart says that's changed since groups like Waves of Hope started coming together to share their experiences. Now they're making waves on cancer research. Fundraising for Brandon University's Dr. Moshami Majumdar, she says the support goes deeper than just money. It's about connection.
You are going to talk to 5 other people, 5 other women and men who will know about this education program Wave of Hope they started. So these dragon boat ladies, they are not just paddling those boats, they are actually paddling the boat of knowledge.
Team captain Michelle Girard is a 23-year survivor of triple-negative breast cancer, something Majumdar's lab is researching. Girard says her breast cancer diagnosis was overwhelming, scary, and traumatizing. Waves of Hope wants to show survivors they are not alone.
It is very therapeutic just to be in it, to be seen and heard, and to be in the company of so many people who are thriving after their diagnosis.
For now, Stewart says the survivors are empowering each other.
And the more people know about breast cancer, the easier it is to cope with and give you the strength that you need.
Waves of Hope aims to raise $150,000 over the next 3 years for Majumdar's research. The team will be back on the water in May. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Brandon.
Still ahead, camping season is upon us. And if you want to spot this summer, well, you'll want to stick around after the break. Plus, Riley is back with a last check on our forecast. Stay with us. Well, it's time to break out those tents because reservations for the 2026 camping season are now officially underway. Campsites at Birds Hill, Winnipeg Beach, and Grand Beach will be available to book tomorrow. You can start booking spots in the White Shell on Wednesday. Other campsites will be open for booking on Thursday and Friday. This year, there's a new $10 cancellation fee. You can book online, by phone, or in person in Winnipeg.
All right, time for your 7-day forecast and this tug of war between winter and spring continuing across the province as we get through the next week here. So we'll enjoy some double digits tomorrow. Cloudier in the morning, then we'll get some clearing as we get through the middle part of the day. 18 degrees into Wednesday, a bit breezy at times. And what goes up must come down, as I was saying a little bit earlier, down to the freezing mark by Friday. A northwesterly wind bringing us likely periods of rain or snow through the early part of the day. Then we'll do this all over again. We'll get some clearing as we get through into Sunday and into Monday, a mix of sun and clouds. And how about a weather picture for you tonight? This guy really, really wants spring to come soon, I think.
Just waiting.
Waiting patiently. Well, usually at this point in the show, we like to bring you cute videos of baby animals. But today, Brittany, the seniors are getting some love.
Our elder animals need that love too. This majestic gorilla is known as the Grand Dame to the zookeepers in Berlin. And this week, Fatou turns 69. Here's your daily lift. Looking good. The elderly ape is believed to be the world's oldest lowland gorilla. She no longer has any teeth, so her food needs to be soft and easy to chew, such as cooked vegetables. Zoo officials say Fatou has some health issues, but she takes it all in stride.
Now she's also known to boss both young apes and their keepers around. In the wild, gorillas typically only live to 30 to 35 years of age. The zoo says a healthy diet and some good genes is Fatou's secret to aging gracefully, much like her human cousins.
You know, at 69, when you've outlived the majority of your other friends, I say you get to do what you want. You get to eat what you want.
Yes. I wish I looked that good.
Well, we wish Fatou a very happy 69th birthday, and we wait to celebrate 70.
Yes, we'll do it next year.
Have a wonderful night. We'll see you here tomorrow.